Avengers Endgame, 11 years in the making, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Infinity War, Thanos, Iron Man, Captain America. I can't set this movie up anymore. Everyone knows about it, everyone's seen it. So let's talk about Avengers Endgame. A spoiler-free section of the video right here. Avengers Endgame, it was pretty great. As a genre, superhero movies are never gonna be the same. This back-to-back two-parter, basically with Infinity War and Endgame, is probably the most genre-defining films of the lot of them. Endgame does nearly everything right. It wraps up every storyline, it does everything it's supposed to. As a pure sequel to Infinity War, I may have liked Infinity War more just because it feels more like a Empire Strikes Back, and it has like the like Thanos wins and all that stuff, and obviously they're gonna rectify some of that in Endgame. You don't know how, but just as a singular film, I think Avengers Endgame does everything it was supposed to and more, and it made a lot of fans happy, including me. It's really, really hard to talk about this without talking about spoilers. I'm trying my best, but every performance was fantastic. There were some characters from other movies I didn't like as much that had a more significant role in this, specifically Nebula, while some characters, not going to tell you who, may have let me down a little bit compared to past movies. A few of these characters were like that. It wasn't that it was a terrible thing, but it definitely could have been done a little differently than what we saw in the film. A lot of the plot points in this movie were fantastic. This movie's written pretty great as well. Compared to other Marvel movies, it's kind of way better writing. It's got to be the Russos. The Russos are the key to all this. The Russos have transcended directorial, and they're just like masterminds at figuring out which characters go where, how they're gonna do this. This leads into that. And it's mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. I'm not the biggest comic book movie fan. Like, I really love the MCU and what it does and what they've done for pop culture. It's basically like our Star Wars. Basically. Like, comparing 3 movies in the 80s to 22 movies in this decade, it's a little hard to feel the comparison, but it's that gigantic of a movement. Yeah, but wrapping up, I didn't really talk about much in the non-spoiler, but Avengers Endgame, it's great. Everyone's gonna go see it. Just make sure you go see it. Avengers Endgame, it's pretty great. Now on to spoilers. So right off the bat, first scene of the film, Hawkeye's family gets dusted, and it's great. It's filmed great. And then we see, Captain MacGuffin saves Tony Stark and Nebula from dying in space outside Titan. She flies him back to Earth. They have an argument. Tony Stark's like really skinny because he's been in space, like starving for like 3 weeks. So he passes out or something. And I thought he just died in the ship earlier, and they're gonna have to time travel back to save Tony Stark. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So they're all back in the Avengers place, and Captain Marvel's like, we gotta go get this guy. Let's go get Thanos. We know where he is. He used the stones again. So they go to this place, and Thor cuts off his head. But before that, they find out that the stones, he used the stones to destroy the stones. That's why he used them again. So there's no way of ever getting those people back now. Thor cuts off his head. Thanos is dead. Cut to 5 years later. Sorry, I mean, I said the writing was good, but like, it's Marvel. You can only make it so good. Like, you need some of these MacGuffins. So there's a little mouse. Because remember in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scott Lang never gets beamed back up from being tiny in the quantum realm. So little mouse comes by, presses the button, and he comes out of the quantum realm. And then he has the idea for time travel. Tony Stark figures out time travel in 5 minutes. And then the plot kicks in. I just summarized like the first hour of the movies, sort of. The most interesting part of the first hour is seeing where all of these characters have gone from not being an Avenger anymore. We see Thor which I didn't completely love where they took his character, and he's still like reeling after the events of Infinity War, not killing Thanos the first time, losing all of his family. He's fat, he likes beer, and he's just like a frat boy. He looks like the Big Lebowski. They mention that in the movie. You see Hulk, he figured out how to live with Bruce Banner and the Hulk together. So it's just like talking Hulk and Bruce Banner Hulk, which is really weird, but I kind of liked it. Then we see Tony Stark with a daughter, and he's married Pepper, and they live on like a cabin and on a lake. Hawkeye's killing bad people, and Black Widow, she's just helping as much as she can. And then you see Cap. You see them all doing like exaggerated forms of themselves, sort of. And then you see Cap, and he's just talking to people at like a group meeting. Because that's the first scene we see after the 5-year jump, is them talking about like, I miss the Mets, and like how to deal with half the people getting killed in the world, sort of thing. So like, it's nice to see how Captain America is the best character. He's my favorite. So it's cool to see people stay true to their characters and which didn't. So we get into that. The first hour is done. They start getting the time travel thing. This is where the movie gets nuts. They find out there's 3 Infinity Stones in New York at once in 2012 in the Avengers. So they go back to the Avengers. They get the 3. They get Hulk talking to Tilda Swinton, and that's interesting. And then you get Captain America fighting Captain America, and then you get Captain America in an elevator with people that are Hydra, but he knows they're Hydra, so he tells them like, "Hail Hydra." Crazy, it was weird. That was happening, and then you see Ant-Man and Iron Man try to get the Tesseract, but it falls out, and Loki just pieces out. So they're like, well, fuck, we only got 2 of them. So we gotta go back again, and Iron Man has the idea to go back to like the 60s, I think, maybe the 70s, when Howard Stark and Peggy Carter were in the same place, and Hank Pym, so they could get the Tesseract in the Shield base, and they could get more Pym particles to go back. And then you get a nice exchange with Howard Stark and Tony Stark, and Howard Stark doesn't know it's Tony, obviously, because he's not born yet, but we get a nice exchange there. We see Captain America not stare, but that's creepy, but Captain America sees Peggy Carter through like a window, and he doesn't say anything, but he sees her, and that's pretty impactful. Yeah, so they go back, they get all the Infinity Stones. You see, okay, so this is where the conflict comes in with the time travel thing. So when Nebula goes back, Nebula and War Machine go back to the planet with the Power Stone from the beginning of the first Guardians. There's like a Bluetooth thing where like Nebula's recording device is beaming to 2014 Nebula, and 2014 Thanos is seeing it, and he's like, oh shit, that's the future. That's what's gonna happen. I need to get in on that. Whatever they're doing, that's my problem now. I'm going to them. So Thanos, he switches the Nebulas, so he's got bad Nebula to go back, and he's got the good Nebula imprisoned. The bad Nebula ends up bringing Thanos right when Hulk, because Hulk puts on the Infinity Gauntlet to snap everyone back in existence, and it works. Right as that happened, Thanos comes, fire bombs the whole place, and then crazy shit starts happening. So this is where that's the end of the second hour, basically. They do all the time travel stuff. Thanos bombs the fucking place. This is where the movie gets crazy. So, right when this happens, we see Hawkeye end up with the gauntlet, and he's trying to get it away from the black like creatures from Infinity War. That's happening. And then we see Thanos tell the bad Nebula, nah, I'm just gonna wait here. You can go get it. And he's just chilling. He's just big chilling. And you see Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America just watching him. Like, what is he doing? And it's like he's just chilling, sitting in the middle of this giant crater after he bombed the place. And they're like, well, we gotta fight him. So they start fighting him. And it's the best fight ever. It's the best fight in the MCU. Seeing Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, 3 like staples of the universe, fighting one person. Not an army, not mess. There's just 3 of them. They're all fighting. And when I tell you this, I screamed at this. I'm not the biggest superhero fan. I love Captain America. Thanos pushing Stormbreaker into Thor's chest, about to kill him. And you see Thor reaching out for Mjolnir to hit Thanos in the head. He's like, okay, he's gonna get it the last second. He's gonna smack Thanos. No, goes past Thanos. Captain America has Thor's hammer. He's holding it, and then he starts beating the shit out of Thanos with it. That happened in the movie, and I was freaking out. So you know I'm serious right now. This is serious. Captain America has the fucking hammer. He's hitting people with it, and then they fight. We see Captain America's shield get busted up, just like Iron Man's vision in Age of Ultron. It's like in half. That's incredible. But seeing Captain America hold Thor's hammer is the best thing I've ever seen. So, and then we get a shot. So Thanos kind of changes his mind from Infinity War, where he's like, yeah, I made a mistake. I'm just gonna kill everyone now when I get the gauntlet and just recreate everything. So he has this giant army he's got like the Jatari flying things, and he's got the Black Order, I think they're called. And then he's got like this massive amounts of army people to wipe out this Earth. And then you see a shot where you see Cap, little Cap over here. And all of this, he's just looking up kind of in a distance. And it's just a giant Thanos army, and it's just Captain America, and it's just, that is a shot. And then right when that happens, yo, Cap and Sam, you hear me? And then everyone gets quiet, and you hear on your left, and you see the little shh Doctor Strange thing, and everyone comes out, and everything's perfect. The Lord of the Rings scale fights. Every single person you can think of that's still alive in the MCU comes out, and everyone gets their little bit to do. It's incredible. It's the most mind-blowing thing. The whole fight happens, and then you see Iron Man and Doctor Strange exchange words, and they're like, because of Doctor Strange seeing all the realities, and there's only one where they win, and Iron Man's like, well, is this right? Doctor Strange is like, if I tell you, it's not gonna happen. So, right there you do something, yeah. So it comes down to it. Thanos gets the gauntlet from Captain Marvel, because I think he like punches her, like really good, like he gets her good. So I guess Captain Marvel isn't like super, she's barely in the movie though, and I don't care. I don't need to talk about Captain McGovern. Thanos gets the gauntlet. Iron Man runs up to him in a frenzy. He yanks it. I guess when he yanks it, he pulls all the stones out, and he puts them on. Thanos tries to snap. It doesn't work. Iron Man has the glove, and he snaps, kills all of the army, of Thanos' army, and then he dies. Yep. And it's not even that he dies. He dies in the most Tony Stark way. He does it on his terms. I kind of want to like tear up right now thinking about it too, because they did it so perfectly. He saved everyone. This arc from the first Iron Man, it's incredible. And then we don't see Pepper right away like break down crying. She says like, you can rest now. You're good now. We got this now. It's not like a I love you so much, I love you too so much thing. There's no speech. Iron Man's just sitting there, and he's just like, he just dies. That's it. There's no extra added on nonsense. You didn't need all that. It was subtle. It was so subtle that I kind of didn't believe it at first. I almost like,
what the hell? What just happened?
That kind of thing. But like, no, he's dead. He's big dead. But yeah, the funeral scene's fantastic. We see every little collection of people. And then we see Cap go back in time to return the stones, and then he doesn't come back, and he grows old, and he gives his shield to Sam, and then that whole thing, and then the movie ends. And there's no post-credit scene. And it's the greatest thing ever. It's a fantastic film. I'd have to give it an 8, maybe a 9. It's not as good as Infinity War. I feel like the movie's gonna get better with repeated viewings. It's up there. It's probably top 5, up there with like some of the best MCU movies, but yeah, Avengers Endgame. See you in the next one.